Hello there, it's Phumlani M. Majosi, the author of a new book, Lessons from Past Heroes. It's good to be back. I hope you've been having a great week. Very big news this week, of course, Floyd Shivambu of the EFF, the co-founder of the Economic Freedom Fighters. Yes, this is the far left, leftist, Stalinist, Leninist political party in South Africa. And Floyd Shivambu is one of its founders. So now he is gone, has left the party to join Umkhonto Wesizwe. Really a blow to the EFF, leaving Julius Malema behind. It was, you could see uh, the the face of Malema at the press conference. He was, devastated by the departure of Floyd Shivambu. They come a long way together. They've been together for a long, long time. So they know each other very, very well. So huge loss for the EFF, a party that, of course, we saw in this last election. The EFF lost votes. Its support declining from 11% in 2019 to 10% on May 29 election. So a loss for the EFF. So now they're losing Floyd Shivambu, moving to the MK party. So what do we make of this? What do we make of this significant development in the context of national politics? I think it's huge. It's good. It's for our democracy. I think it's very good that the EFF seems to be in a difficult situation, losing votes, and of course Floyd Shivambu leaving the party. This is a party that is based on very bad principles. The EFF's principles and values, they are not what this country needs. We need social cohesion in this country. We need racial unity. We need reconciliation. We need to work together as different racial groups, different racial, different cultures to address our very fundamental problems that are well known by every citizen. So the party has been really advancing things that are not good for our country. For example, one, of course, chief amongst the things that the EFF advances is, of course, socialism, communism, right? The state being the control of everything, right? Control of business, control of the people, obviously, nationalizations, um, uh, huge, very disturbing minimum wage laws, race-based policy, um, expropriation of land without compensation. So, I mean, they perpetuate the culture of victimhood, um, always blaming minorities for South Africa's problems. So that's not what we need in this country. We don't need more state. We need a freer economy, right? We need our people to be free in order to exploit their their potential. That is very important, that they are free. That's the only way we can achieve prosperity. Now, if we are going to have parties like the EFF sitting in our legislature, that is concerning. The parties that are promoting the ideas that have really destroyed nations and societies around the world. For me, it's a huge concern for me, and it should be a concern for everybody. So the EFF they have very, very bad economic policies. They celebrate Karl Marx every year, and that is terrible, right? They celebrate people like the leaders of Venezuela. When Hugo Chavez died years back, they were celebrating his legacy. They, they saw him as a champion, right? They've been inspired by people like Hugo Chavez, and that's not what we need in the country. We need a democracy here. We need a country that has stronger markets, competitive markets. That is very, very important. And before I proceed, remember to get yourself a copy of my book, Lessons from Past Heroes. It's available in all bookstores across South Africa. It's a book on the history, the economics, and the politics of South Africa. You can also order on Amazon.co.za. You can take a lot as well. It's available. Do order yourself a copy, and then get to learn about the importance of hard work, personal responsibility, stronger markets, law and order, very, very important, hard work, family. Those are all the things that we need, that must be strong for Africa to become a successful nation. So that was one element, very bad policy from the EFF, very bad economic ideas that would collapse our country and our markets, and therefore disadvantaging millions in the country. And then, of course, there's just their general behavior, right? That is very much violent. That is very much, they love chaos. They love assaulting people. You know, if they were to get into power, you can see that these people would really be negative for our country. They've what word can I use? They have mobilized people to commit land grabs. That's terrible, right? They have at some point assaulted journalists. That is not good. They have, of course, we hear about the VPS, mutual bank scandal, the corruption activities there that took place, not good. We have heard, of course, their hateful comments against the minorities. They've been jumping around singing "Kill the Boer," chants. Well, not a song. They've been chanting "Kill the Boer," and they seem to be proud of doing that. So I mean, these are not the guys that we should be proud of. That they are in our parliament. Such should not be celebrated. I do believe we need better leadership. We need principled leaders who will seek to unite the country. The leaders who will work towards a better South Africa, a South Africa that is united. When you look at their ideas, folks, there's one organization in Washington, D.C. called the Victims of Communism Memorial Foundation. Please do check them online. Those guys, they've been very good in documenting, in creating and putting together all the information about the victims of communism in the 20th century. So they've been very good in doing that, and it's an information that everybody should look at. If there's nothing new under the sun, they say, and some ideas are very old. We do know in the history of what in our history as humanity, as what works and doesn't work. I think that's very, very important. They want to take us into the Soviet way of governing. In the Soviet Union, you had a committee that was called Gosplan. So Gosplan was basically a committee that set everything on the economy, that decided everything, what to be produced, at what quantities it should be produced, the prices, they determined the prices. So these guys, the Gosplan committee, they were responsible for controlling all the aspects of the economy, right? Therefore suppressing individual freedoms in the markets, therefore suppressing prosperity, and that was not good. It was very bad, and in many communist countries, you hear a lot of violence as well. Why? Because people tend to resist. Human nature. It's human nature. That's someone comes through and wanting to nationalize my property, I will resist, and as a result, we are going to get a lot of repression, violence, and so on. It's something that is not what this country needs, especially if it's our goal is to create a rich country that is competitive in the world. There is an author, his name is a gentleman called what's his name? Jared Stepman. He once wrote for the Daily Signal, and what he once said um, was that violence in the communist uh, socialist system, it's a feature. It's not a bug, right? It isn't a bug. It's a feature. Everything needs to be done in a violent way for the government to be in control, right? So that's just how it works. Um, you know, it's not something that would. I strongly believe that if the EFF were to come into power, this country would go backward, folks. We would really go backward in this country. And we've seen the comments that Malema has made have been very much, disturbing. And it's going back to, in fact, even when he was in the ANC, when he was saying he would take arms and defend Jacob Zuma, right? That's inciting violence. That was way back when he was still in the ANC, saying that they were prepared back then as the ANC youth to pick up arms and defend Jacob Zuma. That's not helpful. Um, and then at one point, of course, he once said, as leader of the EFF, that they are willing to even to use a gun um, to to take power in the country, right? Um, so it's one of those things that not really what we need in this country. And it's just, it's a shame that we can produce such leaders. We deserve better. I always say we deserve better, folks. We deserve better leaders. We deserve people who will put the country first, people who are going to be driven by the interests of the country, not their interests. That's not what we want, folks. We want people who will represent our interests and push for economic reforms, social reforms, socio-economic reforms um, that will uplift the lives of the many in the country. Um, um, that is very, very important. And it shouldn't be about empowering politicians and the government. It should be about empowering the poor people, right? Most of whom are black, by the way. It's black people, folks, in large part who are poor in the country. And for them to be uplifted, you need stronger markets. You need to remove government barriers. You need to remove government regulations that make it hard for these people to thrive. The government must create an environment where there is good law and order for people to feel safer and to invest in things like human capital in order to uplift people to be competitive and to offer something in the market um, and to be able to lift themselves out of poverty. That is very, 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 very important. And it's sad that we have people who don't focus on those things. Family is very much critical that we have stronger families in this country. The black family, it's non-existent, folks. The black family collapsed. It's collapsed. And so long the black family is collapsed, we're going to be in serious trouble, folks. The source of our problems are right there with the collapse of the black family, where we have too many kids born out of wedlock, folks. People they just make kids. We don't value the marriage. We don't value families. We don't value, you know, two parents households. Those things are very important if the goal is to create a stronger, richer society. And it's been really sad to see that we have politicians who don't want to talk about those things, who don't want to focus on those things. It's those things that will make South Africa a successful society. It's those things that will uplift Black people, right, who are at the bottom. Um, uh, Also, very much important to talk about the culture of investment and saving. We've got to be a culture. We've got to be a society that invests and that saves as well. We need to know how to use money, how to create wealth. Very critical. So such things, we need to focus on them and not, because they involve empowerment of the people on the ground, not empowerment of the elite. That would not be useful for our country. Remember, again, get yourself a copy of my book at a bookstore near you. It's also available on Amazon.co.za. It's also available on Take a Lot. It's a book written to inspire, to remind you that markets are very, very important, and that stronger families, law and order are critical. Hard work, personal responsibility, all critical for our socio-economic progress. I'm on X at Phumlani M. Majosi, on my website, phumlanimajosi.com. I'm on LinkedIn, Phumlani M. Majosi. I'm also on Facebook. I have a Facebook page, Phumlani M. Majosi. Also on Instagram, I'm at Phumlani M. Majosi. And I also do have TikTok, by the way, TikTok at Phumlani M. Majosi. So those are my platforms. Do check me out and do follow up on what I'm doing in South Africa. I will be speaking in 2 gatherings in Cape Town and Mpumalanga next month. I will keep you updated on that. We'll chat soon.